Hi there, this is Manny with Classic Auto Repair. Today I'm talking about what you need to carry in your car, your classic car or truck, just in case you run into some issues while you're on the road. These things will really be lifesavers for protecting your vehicle against a catastrophic mechanical failure. If you have a ruptured fuel line that is pouring gas on your hot exhaust pipes, your manifolds, your headers, there's a potential for a fire that you can quickly get under control with having the right tools in your trunk or behind the seat. So I'm going to go over a few things that are really common and popular, some preventative items, really easy to keep in the back of your car. A lot of these cars, like this 64 Lincoln, you could carry about 6 bodies in the back of that trunk. So I think, in most of these older cars, you're going to find that there's plenty of room to store some items in smaller containers. You don't have to have large bottles of oil. You can carry the quart sizes of your motor oil and your antifreeze or your transmission fluid. And when it comes to a fuel or a gas tank, these are recommended because about half of the cars I get into the shop have bad sending units on their fuel tanks. So it shows full or empty all the time. Really never have an idea of how much gas you have in the car. You may want to carry an empty fuel bottle so that you can get a ride to the gas tank, or better yet, bring it into the shop and we'll fix that gauge and the gas tank sending unit so that it operates correctly and you always know how much gas you have in your car. All right, so just kind of quickly to go over some of these things. Now, obviously, in our shop, the reason I have my clients come to my shop to have work done and I don't do it on site is because I don't have the equipment when I'm at your house or business to do the repairs. These big toolboxes that we have hundreds of specialized tools, maybe even thousands, and look at all those different kinds of sockets and things. Now, these are necessary to do the kinds of repairs that we're doing here at the shop. But, on the side of a road, you just need to get it back home. And of course, number one, don't work on the side of a highway or a busy street. If that's the situation, get away from the dangerous area. Call call me or text me, and I'll provide you with our tow service. We have professional drivers that use very expensive flatbed trailers. They know about our clients and the level of service that we're looking for, and attention to not damaging anything on vehicles that are towed with regards to our company. So again, that's number one. If that doesn't work and it's something that you can repair, get it away from, the side of a busy street or highway. And then you should be able to get to your trunk and pull out just a few basic tools to help you get back down the road. Probably the number one tool that I use most is the battery jumper. Most of the cars that come in here, they haven't been running in a while, or they've been setting in storage. And if you don't have a trickle charger on your battery, more than likely it's at 50% or less as far as its charge capability. So when I go on road tests, when I test your vehicles out on the road after I've made a few repairs, or I'm trying to get familiar with the vehicle's performance and issues, I always carry my road test bag, which is this right here. And in there is going to be several of these items. It's going to have a battery charger. I'm going to have a light. I'm going to have a way to get something on the street so that I'm not laying in the dirt. A couple of screwdrivers, wrenches, some duct tape fixes a lot of things on the road in emergency situations. And a carburetor spray, which will help start the engine when it's having a problem firing off. This is a very high octane. It's very volatile, so it's gonna give the engine every opportunity to fire with this going in instead of bad gas into the engine. Pliers. I have electrical testers because I can diagnose on the road and on the fly to check to see if things are not performing the way they should. But just again, a limited, small amount of tools that will help you. A pair of gloves. Some kind of if it's at night, you're going to definitely want flares or some kind of signal to let people know that you're stopped on the side of the road. So Battery charger, these are very inexpensive. This is not a charger, this is a jumper. A charger is totally different, and that's even different than a trickle charger or maintainer. Those devices, called battery tenders, just maintain the battery. They don't charge the battery. So you need a battery charger if your battery is dead to get it back to 100%. A battery tender or trickle charger is to maintain the level of charge. So it's not bringing it from a dead battery to 100%. It's taking a 80% battery to 100% and keeping it there without you having to disconnect the cables. You can leave it on a trickle charger. You cannot leave a battery on a charger, or it will actually damage the battery over a period of time. So those are two devices, trickle charger, battery charger, and this is called a jump starter. What it is just a pack of batteries that you can charge with your electrical. It comes with a charger. You plug it into a USB port or a regular house plug, and then you'll get your charge level, 25 to 100%. You can put this in the back of your trunk of the car for 5 years and it'll keep 100% charge on these batteries. That's the nice feature about this. It's an emergency situation. If you needed a light, there's a light at the end of it. There's a charging port for your phone. If you're out stranded somewhere, you can charge your phone with this pack. And most importantly, it has the leads to put on your battery, and then you can jump that battery when it's dead to get it started. This will actually jump a diesel, 350 diesel, big old 7.0 liter monsters. This thing will crank them right up. So again, something very small. It disconnects, so it's portable. It sits inside of this nice little case, and you can get these for about $75, $50 on sale, $100, somewhere around there. You can find these little units, and they are a lifesaver when you're in that situation. If I've actually had them in my cars, and I've used them for people I've found on the side of the road or in a parking lot, and they weren't able to start the car. I don't want to connect their electrical system to my car. You never know what you're getting into when you connect your cables to their electrical system. If they have a short and you put your jumper cables here and connect it to your vehicle, you may cause an electrical situation in your car. A short, it may completely burn up your wire harness because they have a problem. Maybe their alternator is grounded and the electrical system is completely compromised. And then you're gonna go connect to it with your car. That's a problem. It's a much better solution to bring a device over like this jumper box. It's completely isolated, it's separate, and you can do that. Now the other version, the old version, which we use here at the shop, are these big heavy jumpers. Well, you can see they're very big, they're heavy, but same process. It's an isolated jump system, so you're not compromising another vehicle. You connect these to the car, and you can start it immediately. This is a battery charger, and this one actually has a trickle charge feature, so I can use it in both the trickle charge mode and a battery charger. So something like that might be useful for you too in your shop, but not necessarily on the in the trunk, because that's kind of a heavy device and they're expensive. So something like this would be the best solution. Other items you want to have is, of course, lights. And again, we give these away when you come to the shop. Ask for one if I don't provide you one, but always to have lighting. Illumination is one of my number one tools, so I can get up in there on the carburetor and make an adjustment, check for leaks or issues. These, lighting is a critical tool. My eyes are one of my number one tools I use in diagnosing these vehicles. Screwdrivers are critical. You want to make sure you have a small screwdriver. I always carry screwdrivers in my my road test bag with a Phillips and a regular flat blade. And you want some pliers. You don't have to have as many pliers as I do, but you want to have something that has maybe a combination of a plier and a cutter. So if you had to cut a wire or something, you got that all in place as well. Next item is that's always a situation in these cars is the air pressure in the tires. It's very common that tires leak air as they sit. And when these cars are sitting in storage and not constantly being rotated on the road, they just leak. It's just a real common thing. So even on new cars, on my car, I have a monitor that keeps my tire pressure perfect. And when I go down 1 or 2 PSI, I charge them up because I want the maximum fuel efficiency from my tires. By having that tire at the proper level, the gas on my car, I'm not going to use as much fuel. The car is going to roll easier, and that's critical for getting the maximum performance out of your car. Gravity, resistance are all things that prevent the car from moving forward. So keep those tires at the right pressure. And a device like this, under $100, is a great way to do it. You don't have to go to the gas station and pay money for free air. Instead, something like this can stay charged in the back of your car for several years. And when you want to use it, you just hold down the on button, and then it has the designated pressure. My car has a designated on this door sticker, 39 PSI. That's where they want my tires pressure to be all the time. So I have it preset for 39. I simply take the other end of this hose and I screw it to the tire valve. I hit the on button, which is right there in the middle, and this will charge the air. It'll add air to the tires until it's to that level. And I have run this on 8 tires and it still shows a green bar. So from my reviews and experience with these, just kind of check them out. I can send you a link if you're interested to the ones that I use, but a really great tool to have in the trunk of your car. Check those air pressures before you go out to a cruise or a parade or go see the guys at the local weekend car show or meet. Get those tires up to pressure. We talked about earlier about a catastrophic event, and I never drive or road test a vehicle without one of these things in the car. Either a full-size fire extinguisher, which are heavy, and potentially they could go off because all you have is this pin here. If it falls out, you could actually have the extinguisher go off in the car, or something like this. I got this on Amazon, and I've used it around the shop. And what I like best about this versus that, this has a white powder that gets all over the engine compartment. Wherever you're spraying it, you're going to have a big mess to clean up. There's no mess. It doesn't have a powder. It just puts out the fire. I've watched them put out campfires with this, and just standing 8 feet, 10 feet away, you can just spray this, and it puts out the fire without a big mess. So again, very inexpensive. I can get 2 cans of these for less than $30. Put one in your new car and one in your classic car or in the kitchen. I have one of these right next to my stove in the kitchen. I have one in the trunk of my car. I have one in my roll cart here at the shop. In case I ever have a problem, I got one sitting here, and then I got one in my road test bag. So again, fire is a bad thing, not only in submarines and ships, but also in classic cars and any vehicle. You can prevent a catastrophic failure and have a fire on the side of the road by just simply getting to that problem quickly, spray it down, and you can, eliminate the issue versus sitting there helpless on the side of the road, watching your car starting to smoke. 5-10 minutes later, it ignites, and you can't do anything because you have no tool to prevent it. Another item you're going to want to do is check your fluids before you go on a road trip. About once every 2 to 4 weeks, check all your fluids. What I mean by that, your engine oil. You don't have to carry a big 5 jug Pennzoil 10W30 with you, but carry a quart or 2 in a box or a bag. They make such really nice bags that you can carry everything in. Put it in your trunk, because the most damaging fluid that is missing, if it's missing in your car, that's going to cost you the most money is engine oil. Having 2 or 3 quarts down on your motor is a bad thing. So before you go out on that cruise, you don't need to know how to work on cars, but you do need to know how to check a dipstick. And that's what this is right here. Just pull it out and look at that level. You want to make sure that that's right up to the full. I don't know if you can see that on this, but you want that right up to the full level. It's upside down, but you get the picture there. And this truck is ready to make its way back to Austin with the oil level completely checked. It was down several quarts because these motors, this is not a rebuilt motor. It's been in this truck for a long time. It's got leaking seals, rings, the compression rings are letting a little blow-by go by, so you're burning oil and you're driving it on, on the highway, and you're gonna use fluid. So when you get to your destination, before you make the next trip, let it cool down, check those fluids. The other area you wanna check, very critical, you wanna be able to stop your vehicle, is your master cylinder. This is where the fluid for your brakes is held. So carry a small little bottle of brake fluid. This is like a $10. Keep it in your car. This will damage your paint on your vehicle, so make sure when you use it that you're using paper towels. You're not using something you might wipe the car down with later. Make sure you don't drip it on the fenders. Put yourself some protection and just fill these 2 reservoirs back up, or 1 if you have the old drum brakes. You may have just 1 cylinder here. Make sure that gets filled up. Transmission fluid, if you have an automatic, then you have auto transmission fluid in your vehicle, and they make different types of fluids. They have ATF, this is a Ford Type F, so there's a lot of different kinds of fluids. You can Google your particular year of car and motor, and then ask Google, what type of transmission fluid do I use? And it will tell you, so there's no confusion. You can go to your local parts store, tell them what car you have, and they will pull it up in the computer, the manufacturer recommended fluid. Don't want to use the wrong fluid in your transmission or engine. Transmission fluid is always on the back of this is where the transmission is. It's on the back of the motor, so you're going to check this while the engine is running and in operating temperature. So let it run 10 minutes, pull the dipstick out, and read those levels. If it's low, you're going to know it, because it'll slip when you put it into drive or reverse. It doesn't immediately go into gear. You might have to push on the gas pedal and eventually it might engage. Well, that's not a good thing. That's slipping of your transmission parts, and it creates friction and wear. So you want to keep that fluid in there so that it provides the maximum pressure and make sure that the parts make good contact and you don't get any damage to your transmission. All right, and then finally the cooling system. The next fluid is antifreeze. Water is okay in an emergency situation, but know that if you put water in your radiator, you start the process of corrosion. There's a recommended level of antifreeze to water, but you should see green in there. You don't want to see clear fluid inside of this, because that means it's all water, which means if you get below 32 degrees, and what I mean by that is it can be 45 degrees outside. If the wind chill is below 32 degrees, your radiator is going to freeze, and then the motor is going to freeze, and you're going to start to expand. That water expands and it cracks or pops your freeze plugs, which is a real common thing on these old cars. They have these things called freeze plugs. See that right there? That's a freeze plug, that round circle. And it's kind of like the last ditch effort to keep the engine from breaking. Those freeze plugs will pop out. Then you got to have that replaced, or hopefully not your other parts of your motor haven't frozen and broken. So ice is very damaging to motors and the components. Easy fix is just to make sure you have plenty of antifreeze in your vehicle. And you can go to any parts store and ask them to test your antifreeze, your cooling. And what they're going to do is they're going to take a device like this, and they're going to put it inside of the radiator and test the fluid. And it's going to tell them how your fluid is rated to negative degrees and positive degrees, and what's that window there. So what you want to do is make sure that that's tested, and if you have antifreeze, then you're never going to be going to a negative or a thinner strength of your cooling and your antifreeze to keep it from freezing. So just keep maybe a half a jug of this, or half water, half antifreeze, this is full strength. You actually add 50% water to this because it's concentrated. And just top it off whenever you start to run low. Hot conditions in Texas are very common. Failures here, we get a lot of cars in here for overheats. Most of the time it's because they don't have a capture bottle. They don't have a good radiator cap. I've had a lot of them just where the pressure of the radiator cap isn't held. It dumps it on the ground. The radiator starts to get lower and lower on coolant. And every time you run it, it overheats. Fans, electric fans, the engine fans, belts, bad radiators with a lot of corrosion in them are all common. So we do a lot of radiators here. Electrical. We put electric fans on a lot of cars to help with cooling, because when the engine's not turning fast, there's nothing moving air. So we'll install these electric fans on the front of the radiator, put them right here, and it helps draw air through that radiator, keeping the motor cool when you're in stop and go, you're at the bank, you're at the drive-through of a hamburger place. You're sitting there, the engine isn't bringing a lot of air through. So just like your new cars, they have electric fans to help keep everything cool. All right, so I think that's pretty much it on what I wanted to just kind of discuss quickly here. I know it's a long video, but something that I think needs everybody needs kind of to have in their car just to prevent a situation, a dangerous catastrophic event can be avoided by just having the right equipment in your vehicle. I have this in every vehicle. My daughter just started driving this week, and one of the first things I put in her car was an emergency kit that has everything similar to this. Not that she has to fix it, but if someone were to help her, they have all the right stuff there to fix the problem and get her back on the road, or more importantly, call that 24-hour tow service, get the vehicle to somewhere safe, away from the highway, and get those repairs completed. So again, something to keep in the trunk of your car. Hope this was helpful. This is Manny with Classic Auto Repair. Have a great day. Bye.